Hey everyone, it's December 31st, and that means that if today's your birthday, you share it with serial killer John Allen Muhammad, known as the DC Sniper, who along with Lee Boyd Malvo murdered 17 victims in 2002, and that is them right up there. Born John Allen Williams in 1960, Muhammad grew up in New Orleans, being raised by his grandfather and an aunt after his mother died and his father left when he was just 3 years old. He joined the Louisiana National Guard in 1978 and enlisted in the Army in 1985, where he earned his rifleman's expert badge for his skill with military weapons. At the age of 27, he joined the Nation of Islam and served in the First Gulf War in 1991. He was honorably discharged in 1994 and participated in the Million Man March on Washington in 1995. Twice married and divorced, Muhammad was involved in a custody battle over his children, and in 1999 he kidnapped them and fled to Antigua. He also had repeated convictions for violating a restraining order, which prohibited him from owning a gun under federal law. While in Antigua, he met Lee Boyd Malvo, a 14-year-old boy from Jamaica who would become his accomplice. He changed his name from Williams to Muhammad in October of 2001 and expressed admiration for Osama bin Laden. By this time, he was back in the U.S., living in Washington State with Malvo, who had been caught crossing the border as an undocumented entrant to the U.S., so he was also prohibited from owning a gun. Muhammad had convinced the now 17-year-old that he had a plan to extract a $10 million ransom from the U.S. government that he would use to form a utopian colony in Canada. To help with that plan, Malvo stole a .233 caliber Bushmaster rifle from a gun store, and the two began their murder spree. The first victim was in Tacoma, the niece of a friend of Muhammad's ex-wife. A month later, a man was shot on a golf course in Arizona while the two were practicing their tactics. 5 more deaths and 7 injuries followed as they headed east before making their mark in the Washington, D.C. area. Muhammad modified the trunk of his car to have a hole just above the license plate, allowing the pair to have one person drive and one person lay down in the back and shoot without being seen. When they arrived in D.C., they embarked on a 23-day reign of terror that saw 10 victims shot dead and 3 more injured in Maryland and Virginia. The plan was to kill 6 victims per day for 30 days, but heavy traffic made it difficult to get to their predetermined shooting locations, and that's why I feel safe living in Southern California. Tarot cards were often left behind at the crime scenes, providing cryptic messages to the authorities. Notes were left asking for $10 million to stop killing, and a phone call was placed to police in which Muhammad mentioned a previous killing in Alabama they had committed on their cross-country murder tour. Malvo's fingerprints had been found at that scene, and as he was known to associate with Muhammad, the police had their suspects. Near the end of October, the pair were found sleeping in their car at a rest stop. They were tried for murder in both Virginia and Maryland, with Malvo receiving life in prison and Muhammad the death penalty. Malvo remains behind bars and is set to be resentenced after Supreme Court rulings about the constitutionality of life sentences for juveniles, and it seems likely that he will eventually be released on parole. Muhammad was executed by lethal injection in Virginia in 2009 after eating a final meal of chicken with red sauce and a slice of cake. If this is your birthday, have a great day. Leave me a comment so I can wish you a happy birthday. If you know someone's birthday it is today, send them this video. And to John Allen Muhammad, I say happy birthday, you bastard.